Welcome back to the Lance Scurv Show. This is not going to be a very long show at all. I'm going to admit that I'm in Accra, Ghana, if you don't know, and I was already sleeping. It's 1:14 a.m., but my phone rang a couple times to talk about this story, and since I'm a boxing fanatic, that's what I'm going to do. But sleep is still on my shoulder, and I'm not going to repeat really what everybody else is going to repeat because it is breaking news. And if you're into boxing, it'll more concern you with anything else. But as you well know, when I do a show, I like to pull in from a different perspective outside of what maybe the usual boxing commentators are. I don't consider myself that. I'm just a great fan from when I first saw the first fight that I ever saw in 1971, March 8th, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. Wasn't there, but I saw the fight. Anyway, there's a lot going on in the world. And sometimes we can see a storm brewing long before it arrives. So what does that mean with this particular situation? Middleweight champ Jermall Charlo arrested on third-degree felony assault in Fort Bend, Texas. I'm going to read a piece of the story. It's down below in the comment section, or not the comment section, but the description area. If you don't really know the situation, I'm not going to really get too much into the facts. I'm just going to read this one particular story from Boxing Scene. And here it is. Jermall Charlo has been subject of several hot boxing rumors in recent days. The latest news break, however, has him back in legal trouble outside the ring. The unbeaten two-time, two-division, and reigning WBC middleweight titleist was arrested Friday afternoon in Fort Bend County, Texas, following a warrant executed for his arrest. Charlo was charged with assault causing bodily injury of a family member after having a previous conviction for family violence, a third-degree county, which carries a sentence of 2 to 10 years in prison if found guilty. Charlo remains in custody as this goes to publish, with an unsecured bond sent at $10,000 for his release. Okay, that doesn't look like too much. It's a slap on the wrist for him because he's a multimillionaire, but here is some more. Fort Bend County Jail records indicate that Charlo, 32-0, 22 KOs, he's undefeated, was arrested at 1:29 p.m. on Friday, though it remains unclear if the executed warrant was for a prior investigation or a recent incident. Charlo was previously under investigation for an alleged aggravated assault incident in May of 2020, also in his hometown of Richmond, Texas, to an unnamed claimant alleged to have been assaulted to the point of suffering bodily harm, at which point an official report was filed classifying the alleged incident as aggravated assault causing serious bodily harm. The boxer was never arrested, nor were charges filed at the time. That was some foolishness, that first one there. They were saying that he, some altercation with a waitress in a restaurant where his card didn't come up good, but he went crazy in there, but they didn't bring any charges to him. Go figure. Even in this situation, they give him a $10,000 unsecured bond for his release. He can pay that. He's probably out now. I don't know. They just put this stuff out. I'm just getting it now. But anyway, there's more to this story that meets the eye as far as I'm concerned. And many other people say, oh, yes, just another black man getting locked up. They're very aggressive and they got money, but they can't handle themselves. I beg to differ. I know he is a very aggressive young man, very aggressive. Duh, look at the sport that he's in. What do you think? He's going to be in the back crocheting if you try him. You know, he's young, he's got money, and maybe he would think a little different and be very, very careful on the people who just might be there or paid off to stack his record up with all of these. So when they come for the big one, they'll get him. And what do I mean? Well, he's a PBC fighter, and PBC is a promotional company that's run by Al Heyman. Probably don't even know these names if you're not into boxing, but it's okay. This is the situation. Al Heyman came around several years ago and started a PBC, and he was hated on because he is a black man. Again, Jermall Charlo, Floyd Mayweather works with Al Heyman for the longest time. They have Gervonta Davis. They have so many Errol Spence. You know what I mean? There's so many superstar boxers that are making millions of dollars that are under the umbrella of the PBC. And it seems like when you're on the verge of getting some leeway in your career, which he has been, knocking them out, fighting, beating his opponents, doing well. You should see his home, whatever. Now, they don't like to see that. They will use your aggression against you. I'm not saying as a conspiracy theorist, they're all. You got to know if you're a black man that have any kind of money in America, eventually they're going to come for you. But it's also an attack on the PBC and the success of the PBC in the boxing world to revolutionize how the promotions and managers deal with fighters. Fighters are getting paid with them. And the established promoters don't like that. They don't want to work with them. They have some of the best fighters in the whole world, and a lot of the other promotional firms are jealous. Now, here's the catch. Canelo Alvarez is considering fighting Jermall Charlo, who many people feel that he was ducking for the longest time. Now he's considering to fight Jermall Charlo. There's nothing written in stone. There's no ink on any paper, but it's a big consideration for May, Cinco de Mayo, big celebration day for Mexicans. And that's what Floyd Mayweather would do. He'd fight a Mexican. He likes to fight Mexicans on Cinco de Mayo because that's just what it is. They have the nationalism going on. And when he would fight, it's a big thing because they love fights anyway. But if Jermall Charlo gets to fight Canelo Alvarez and beats him, that would throw off so many people around, because it's not just the boxers getting paid. It's the promoters, the managers, just everybody down the line, especially for a big event like that. The boxing sanctioning fees for the different organizations. Everybody gets paid. The stadiums are packed. And I really believe if they fight on Cinco de Mayo in Texas, where there's so many Mexicans, that would break so many records, because see, the rumor has it, and really it looks to be very factual, that Canelo Alvarez does not like to fight black fighters. Mayweather beat him, and there were other guys who made him look bad that he wants to stay away from. He can't handle that style where we got rhythm. Well, guess what? Jermall Charlo has that style. And with boxing, there's so many millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars out there. You can't tell me there's somebody probably didn't come up to one of the family members and, you want to make a little extra $250,000. Maybe it didn't happen that way. I do know Jermall Charlo and his brother Jermall, they're very aggressive, but they're not reckless. They're not stupid. And they're being made to look this way. You can't step any old kind of way when you have money like that and fame without somebody seeing the value in getting into an altercation with you, even your own family members. This is a lesson, whether he did this or not. You have to understand that as a black man in America with money and fame, and now, see, he's set for life already. He doesn't need Canelo Alvarez, but if he fights him and beats him, that's a wrap for Canelo Alvarez, who has been ducking good fighters, moving up in weight, moving down, busted for performance enhancing drugs, substances, but it's kind of swept under the rug because, see, that's Canelo Alvarez. And so you have Bob Arum, who has fighters or fights that he should make with other people, with the fighters that he has, and he doesn't do it. He does his fighters wrong. That's why Floyd Mayweather had to leave him. That's why Terrence Crawford is in the process of suing him for the racist practices and holding back his career, because they don't, bottom line in boxing, they do not want to have black fighters excel. They don't. And they do little stupid stuff to avoid and using the rules and paying off people under the table. Yes, boxing is the dirtiest sport on the entire planet. It's a sport where high-paid lawyers will leave their profession and come on in to be involved in boxing. So there's a lot of leeway and a lot of stuff they can get away with using the bodies of these fighters who put themselves through torture to make the money that they make, and they have to come up. And we have a brother here who is on the verge of becoming, really, he's a household name for a person like me because I love boxing, but he really will be. And the powers that be basically say, that can't happen. It can't happen. No, 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 no. So with that potential, it doesn't surprise me. We've been doing stories all week on stuff like this. Now, the Nelly situation, I'm thinking he's trying to get a little boost for his career with that little videotape with the girl going down on him. But with Snoop Dogg gaining the masters of death row, and all of a sudden a woman comes out of nowhere after 9 years and says that he sexually assaulted her. Perfect timing. He's about to blow up even more. You're not allowed to have the ultimate fame and fortune. They have to find something to take it from you. Maybe this is not the case, but I have to say it. It's a story that I'm going to keep watching. And I usually don't talk about much boxing on the channel, but I will do so when I see fit. Not about just fights, but situations like this where you have a black man who is successful already. Successful already. Who is his family member? Do you think he's stupid that he knows that possibly in May, he's going to get the biggest fight of his career, possibly? The biggest fight. And I feel that he'll have no problem with Canelo Alvarez. And also, we got to speak on the press, the boxing press, the sports writers. They have a way of turning away from these situations, not just this one here, but in minimizing the accomplishments of black fighters. It must be said, if you don't know this, you don't know boxing, or you straight racist. They're doing this now in 2022 because there's so many ways of making big money. It's not just, oh, you win the fight, and now you got your money and you're gone. What about the pay-per-view numbers that over a certain amount you've negotiated to get even more so on the back end? Concessions, the shirts and memorabilia, all those things that continue to sell after. That's where boxing promoter Don King years ago used to excel, because most of the fighters weren't even aware of these things. He's ripping them off left and right. Back in those days, when you trained at Don King's training camp, you had to pay to train at his camp, but you thought you were getting it for free. And then he'll charge you twice for certain things. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of things that were going on, but when Al Heyman came around, and not only did he have them paid more, he would teach them business, help them to get real estate, help them to make good business moves that no matter how many millions they had in the bank, guess what? They were shrewd now, because most fighters, they usually don't come from the most pristine of situations. And so their mind gets kind of gassed up. I'm not saying Jermall, maybe so. And it doesn't just have to be black fighters, but for us who come from pretty much nothing, and we get all of this, and the leeches and the women and people trying to get drugs in our system, everybody wants to be our buddy. We find out about cousins that we never had before. It's a whole different world, and it's heaven on earth. Women are no problem. Mansions, money, Bentleys, come on. Everybody knows you. But everybody knows you because you're a big target. And in the days of this pandemic, people walking off of jobs, but there's a lot of people who want to work, but they don't want to work. The stimulus money made them lay around. They got a taste of the good life. Now it's time, when the stimulus money is over, to get back to work. I don't want to go back to work. I want to stay home and get paid. People are depressed. People are dying. People are on drugs to escape this dead reality. Tent cities, people are homeless. This is real, but they don't broadcast that all over the so-called mainstream media. But they'll always bring a story like this to the forefront. I remember now, how long ago was that? It was 2018. We had a fighter named Sergey Kovalev, right? And it was out in Big Bear, California. This is the Russian dude that was knocking everybody out. He was fought Bernard Hopkins. He fought so many different people, right? But he ended up being like a big bully because he was scary when he was in his prime. But he fell off. Even Canelo Alvarez beat him, and it looked like such a fake fight because, like I said, boxing is dirty. But they pushed this guy. I knew he had an edge to him, but I couldn't figure it out. So they pushed him. What was it? What network was it? Showtime? One of them, right? They kept pushing him, doing these little things before the fight, like he's just married and he has a newborn and he's a family man, and he changes from this family man into this fearsome monster. And it's just so beautiful that after he fights and he's so fearsome, he comes back into the loving arms of his wife and holding up his child. That joker's crazy. Look, I can spot crazy a mile away. I don't care how much you dress it up. But Kovalev met some chick at a bar, a local party or somewhere, and he ended up back to her cabin. Sergey Kovalev. See, with white fighters, no matter, even if they come from a different country like Russia, and they're building them up, they protect them and their image. And wouldn't you believe he went back to a cabin and, they started kissing. But once she wanted to push away from the kissing because he was getting a little too rough, they say he might have been drunk. He was very aggressive. She pulled away and homeboy punched her in the face and kicked the dog, giving the lady a concussion. But they cut a deal with him. And they reduced the charges so much to the point where he had to do anger management and pay $220 in court fees. But he pleaded guilty to misdemeanor fighting, all that stuff like that. And he got 3 years probation. And you don't hear that in the mainstream. Okay? And I can give you countless things. I'm not going to keep you here all night. I got to get back to bed. Like I said, my phone started ringing. I saw the story. I set this up for a little while. I was already asleep. But this one I had to catch because that's what it's really all about. You got a fighter named Devin Haney, who is the WBC lightweight champion. And you have George Kambosos, who just beat Teofimo Lopez, the one who beat, what's the other guy's name from the Ukraine? The Matrix, they call him, right? Well, drop it in the comment. It's late at night over here for me. But after George Kambosos beat Teofimo, Lomachenko was the guy's name. I'm sorry. Yeah, after he beat Teofimo Lopez and had the majority of the belts in the lightweight division, and Devin Haney has been avoided by so many people already for a very long time, he'll whip all these guys easy. And then Kambosos after the fight was basically saying, I'm going to fight you. We're going to unify the lightweight division because that's what the fans want. They want to see unification bouts. But what happens is that you have different organizations, different promoters who are affiliated with the organizations and different fighters. And the main thing is to bring along this white fighter and not let him fight the more dangerous fighters. Brazen in your face. And the sports writers are down with it. They paint a picture. You got Ryan Garcia, who is under Floyd Mayweather. He has so many millions of followers on Instagram. He talks a lot of smack and doesn't want to fight anybody. He never fought a former champion, never fought a current champion, just fought here and there. He's flashy, but he's so fragile. He's more into being a model. He's more into being a heartthrob. If this was him years ago, he'd probably be part of Menudo. He doesn't really want to fight. So they're moving him along that way, but he gets more credibility than a guy like Devin Haney, who is proven. And they've been running after these fights. And they've been finding ways to wiggle out of it. And he is a champion. They have more than one champion because they have more than one. But it makes it so stupid. They need to go back to the time when they had one champion per division. But now it's split up. And we finally get a chance to get a fight where if George Kambosos followed up on his word and fought Devin Haney and lose, he's going to lose for sure. That's more certain than Charlo beating Canelo with his PEDs. And Charlo never got busted for anything illegal. But they want to paint him as being this monster. And that's the best way. Domestic violence. He flies off the handle. You got to be frustrated. People are avoiding you. Charlo's been calling to fight Canelo Alvarez for the longest time. And they always find a way to enable him in the press and it behind the boardrooms. Manipulating. This is what they want. This is why they want all white champions now. And they want to demonize us, take our money, give us this imagery. But black success in America and really the world over is not acceptable. Not acceptable. It's too visible. And they don't want him to fight Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez can, wherever he goes, he's going to get money where he fights because they built him up in the minds of the people. So strong. So they don't want him to get that money because he has a belt. And if Canelo Alvarez comes down to that division where he doesn't have a belt, even though he's pushed more and won belts in different divisions in these fights that are so like not challenging to him. He doesn't want to fight a black man. And that's the basic thing right now. They don't want to fight black fighters, whether they're white, whether they're from a Spanish speaking country. It's to avoid the good black fighters. That's the bottom line. And so somebody, to me, I smell a rat. Canelo Alvarez is finally saying that, yes, I want to fight Jermall Charlo, but there's nothing certain yet. But he's the closest he ever been to it. And guess what? This happens. There's always some perfect timing whenever we are at the pinnacle and about to make great success that's undeniable. You understand? So on that note, I'm going to sign off. I'm going back to bed. If you want to talk about this tomorrow in a live show that's longer, drop it in the comment box. But for me, like I said, it really, really, really is something to know over time. But keep your eyes open. Let's follow the story and let's see what's really going to happen and go on. Much love to you all. I'm signing out. Lance Scurv out. Peace.
Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition? Stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion. Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die. But all of the years that we're living, for us is nothing but hell, pain, torture, and misgiving. Yet the Bible speaks of a heaven filled with material luxury, which the white man and the preacher has right here, so we see. So, my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth. So let's check back into history, which rewards all research and tells us plainly that before the white man gained entry to the East, he was living in the caves of Europe, a ravenous beast, eating juniper roots and eating flesh raw, till God sent Moses to civilize him and teach him the law. Then, following Marco Polo, an explorer, he gained entry into Asia and Africa. From India he took jute, manganese, and rubber. He raped Africa of her diamonds and her gold. From the Mideast he took barrels of oil untold, raping, robbing, and murdering everything in his path. The whole black world has tasted of the white man's wrath. So, my friend, it's not hard to tell. A white man's heaven is a black man's hell. Before we came to America, we were living in ease. By the Nile River, we were living in luxury, enjoying freedom, justice, and equality. We wore silken robes, slippers of gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people, I'm told. Now we are the poorest of the poor. Nobody wants us at their door. So, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. When the white man came to America, he told the Indian, I am your white brother. He said, red man, I'll treat you the best. Yet and still he pushed the Indian further west with his white woman and fire water. Tricks and lies, he stole America. The original owner of this nation is cooped up on a reservation. So, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. He needed someone to work the land. His back was too weak. He needed you, black man, so he commissioned Sir John Hawkins to commit the world's most grievous sin, to take a man who's born to be free and bring him down to slavery, to sell a man as merchandise, on his body put a price. Oh, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is a black man hell.